And good morning. Welcome to Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern. My name is Dr. Ashaki Noni Nichols, and thank you so much for joining us here this morning. I'm coming to you this morning, and of course, I'm a little sad with some of this news that I have to cover this morning because this is actually someone I feel like I grew up with. I know many of you may have heard of. Malcolm Jamal Warner passing over the weekend. And good morning, beautiful Black Americans. Thank you so much for that, Jay Smooth, and joining us this morning. And thank you, Patty, for reposting the stream. But yes, Malcolm Jamal Warner of The Cosby Show, he died at age 54. I'm 53. God willing, I will be 54 in November. That is so young. And it says the actor who played Theo Huxtable in a long-running sitcom reported to have drowned while on vacation in Costa Rica. It's so sad because I know, a lot of childhood actors, they don't really go on to act in other things. They just kind of stay childhood actors and they retire. That's it. But he worked on some other shows, after the Cosby Show. It said Warner accidentally drowned off the coast of Coselas Beach near Limon, Costa Rica on Saturday afternoon. Local police confirmed to ABC News. The alert stated that two men were swept out to sea by high currents. One man was rescued and brought to a hospital in critical condition. Warner was recovered on Sunday, according to the Costa Rican outlet Latasia, citing Costa Rican Red Cross officials. The actor played Theo Huxtable, the only son of Bill Cosby's patriarch, Cliff Huxtable, on the semi and on the seminal, interesting word, NBC sitcom from 1984 to 1982, earning one Emmy nomination. Warner went on to star alongside Eddie Griffin in the sitcom Malcolm and Eddie from 1996 until 2000 and became an executive producer and voice actor on the beloved educational child series The Magic School Bus. He also starred as Alex Reed opposite Tracy Ellis Ross on the BET show Read Between the Lines from 2011 to 2015. He often guest starred on television and with credits on shows such as Major Crimes, Suits, The Resident, 9/11, and Alert, Missing Persons Unit. Born and raised in New Jersey, New Jersey, Warner attended Performing Arts High School in New York City before his big break on The Cosby Show. He auditioned for the role of Theo on the final day of a nationwide search. During his tenure on the popular sitcom, Warner trained as a director and went on to direct numerous music videos for the likes of New Edition and others, as well as episodes of sitcoms such as The Cosby Show, Kenan and Kel, and Malcolm and Eddie. A poet and musician, Warner won a Grammy for Best Traditional R&B Performance in 2015 and was nominated for Best Spoken Word Poetry Album in 2023. I won't continue on, but I just wanted to read that to you guys, that he was more than just a childhood actor. He did several things. He had a family, and it's just so sad he's no longer with us. So on X, the former NBA star Irving Magic Johnson said that he and his wife were sad to hear of the death of their friend. We were both super fans of the hit Cosby Show and continued to follow his career on shows like Malcolm and Eddie and The Resident. He wrote, "Every time I ran into Malcolm, we would have a deep and fun conversations about basketball, life, and business. He will truly be missed." And he truly will be missed. Just so sad. Again, I don't know if any of you out there, have those moments shared. I know things happened with Bill Cosby, and it's sad that it would ever tarnish the show, but there were so many good things about that show growing up because you got to see a family that was successful. Bill Cosby played a doctor and his wife played an attorney. Their children, they weren't perfect, but they had success in their own way. Even Miss Denise, she was the quirky one. I loved um, Lisa in that role of Denise. She, in for me, she showed me it was okay to be different, right? And I think that's the one thing that I pulled away from her, you know, as a character. And of course, we had little Rudy and Keisha Knight Pullman, so cute. Oh my gosh. And my husband and I, different times when we do karaoke, we actually do that song by Ray Charles. And I get to sing that part going, baby. It sounds a lot different when I'm in karaoke. But when I do that song, or my husband and I, people remember that moment, and it was a happy moment. And even though we're very sad, and I'm definitely sending condolence and prayers out to the family, we remember him well. That's what I want people to walk away with. So thank you guys for indulging me in that. But I do want to get back to the news, and thank you, Sean AI, filmmaker, for reposting the stream, and also Dr. C. Thank you so much for reposting the stream. So we are going to get a little bit more into, of course, immigration, because that's a big topic, and it's something that I wanted to continue to press, because we definitely need to press the administration that we're not going to do amnesty, nor any form of amnesty. People need to leave the soil. They need to leave the United States, and they need to come back here the right way, period. We need to stop trying to interject different policies and different loopholes. And people, there's something I'm going to discuss with you guys. I'm like, yeah, we want people to be here, even though it's not a pathway to citizenship. What? What are we talking about? Why are you trying to put another gap and hole in our country? Like, stop it. Like, that's where I'm at. I'm just at the stop it moment. Knock it off. Nobody wants people here illegally, period. They are criminals. Now, people want to say, well, they didn't commit any crime. Yes, they did. They walked over here illegally. And they've been here for 10, 20 years. Not going about getting their citizenship, but just here illegally. That's a criminal. Whether it's 1 day or 20 years, it's a criminal. We have proper ports of entry. We have proper ways to apply for citizenship, period. Fix that, as opposed to putting in excuses to not do things the right way. So I'm going to start with Cash Jordan. Like I said, a couple of videos I want to show you guys, get into it, break down some things, share some laws with you that have been passed recently. If you didn't know, some laws were passed, and they are going to affect our lives. So with that, let's get into it.
Gang members just attacked a Border Patrol agent in New York City. And there's more to this story nobody's talking about.
Police say 2 men ambushed that agent in what appears to have been an attempted robbery. One of them now in custody being questioned. Homeland Security officials say that person of interest is an illegal migrant, career criminal from the Dominican Republic with a rap sheet that includes a robbery and a stabbing earlier this year.
Police have the suspected shooter in custody. If we can go full screen on the video here of the alleged incident.
Oh, look, the two guys on the moped.
When we go through it, you can see 2 people, 2 suspects police identify as pulling up on a moped there. This is near Riverside Park, okay? This is just before midnight. The officer was sitting on the rocks there, kind of near the water.
He's over here. It's blurry footage.
The shooter there walk up to where the federal officer is, the Border Patrol agent who was off duty. Go up, confront the off-duty agent there, and then you can see right there, shot fired, and then it appeared that shots were also exchanged there. The perp was also hit. He ends up limping back here in just a few seconds, in about 10, 15 seconds here, limping back to that moped.
This guy doesn't know what to do, the guy in the red.
Getting on there, you can see the driver of that scooter scrambling, trying to figure out what exactly to do, what kind of situation they just created for themselves here. Whole lot of trouble they're now in after doing that here. Cops back on the scooter. They flee the scene at this point. So let's bring up a picture here of one of the suspects. Police believe that this man, Miguel Mora, is the suspected shooter. Authorities say he crossed illegally into the country. We'll get that picture up. There it is. He crossed illegally into the country through Arizona in 2023. Also,
so he's been here for 2 years.
Earlier of the incident through the Citizen app. So the suspected shooter has 2 prior arrests for domestic violence in New York and an active warrant after not showing up for a court date. Also wanted on a robbery charge.
How is he not in jail?
December of 2024, and a felony assault, stabbing from January of this year, both occurring in the Bronx. He is in custody in the hospital, expected to be arrested today for both incidents. Right now, police believe the victim was not targeted in any specific way.
We have to be quick and swift to deal with those who believe they're going to inflict violence, not only on documented New Yorkers, but they are known to commit violence on undocumented New Yorkers.
Okay, all of that's true, but a great way to be quick and swift is to not be a sanctuary city, and that's a big part of the problem here that's not getting enough attention.
Hey, well, first, thanks for having me. First off, I'm very happy that the officer is going to be okay.
That's good
for him and his family. And I'm happy that he was able to return fire and take that individual down. You know, that just shows right there that there was a broken border policy. Now that we have an individual that came into the country illegally, was released on his own recognizance, and then just went on a crime spree. And if you look at all the times he's been arrested and released without any notification to ICE, and not only that, but what the mayor also failed to mention was the fact that he also has an active warrant in Massachusetts for armed kidnapping. And so that just shows that his crime spree went all over the Northeast untouched.
But where was he? New York, Massachusetts, places that protect illegal immigrants, which is who he was and where he could find other illegal immigrant criminals to team up with. But the way that these 2 gang members attacked this off-duty agent, the city's been warning that this type of crime and this pattern of crime has been common in New York City and exploding, and nothing's been done about it.
Tonight, New York City police are searching for a group of men they say are responsible
Look at the
for
mopeds.
a series of brazen daylight robberies on mopeds over the weekend. Separate incidents in different parts of the city involving the use of electric scooters to quickly approach victims, strike, and then speed away. On Friday, the first attack caught on a security camera released by police. A 64-year-old man walking in the Chelsea neighborhood in Manhattan doesn't notice 2 men on mopeds approaching him from behind. One man gets off, allegedly grabs the $12,000 Rolex on the man's wrist, yanks it off, and appears to push the man to the ground. The victim runs after them, but can't keep up with the motorized scooters. The man suffered a few scrapes, but refused medical attention. Then on Saturday, a nearly identical crime, also caught on video footage released by the NYPD. 2 young women walking near the famous Guggenheim Museum on the Upper East Side, attacked by 2 men on a scooter.
This is the exact same pattern of crime that these 2 gang members attempted to carry out on this armed Border Patrol agent who was not on duty. This epidemic of moped crime, it's been around for a long time. It's exploded here in this sanctuary city, and nobody should be surprised that gang members are still doing this. Even though Trump is president, they can do it here and get away with it, and they are.
Surveillance video obtained exclusively by Pix 11 News shows a disturbing trend. The victim, doing her normal routine, when out of nowhere, you see 2 men riding on a moped on the sidewalk, snatch her purse.
This is an everyday occurrence here.
She tries to hold on, but hits the sidewalk as the thieves get away without even slowing down.
This is terrible.
This is how quickly it could happen to anyone walking down a street.
And this is in broad daylight.
Video to this woman,
that's super scary. I mean, I just think about my parents walking down the street and that happening to them.
Police say they have been tracking a surge in robberies and other violent crimes where mopeds are being used as a quick escape.
But nothing's been done about it. That MSNBC report, that was from 2 years ago. This was within the last year. It's been an epidemic for years. And what these criminals do with the phones and valuables they steal will shock you.
They walked across the border for a better life.
No, they didn't.
Now they are walking out in handcuffs.
Yes, they are.
Police say their American dream was to commit crime. Anything you want to say for yourself? How did these migrants end up on the wrong side of the law? Police say it did not happen overnight and that they are organized criminals.
That's right.
Accused of being a part of a citywide robbery pattern.
Migrants preying on vulnerable New Yorkers in New York City. Over 60 victims committing crimes as robberies, grand larcenies, purse snatches.
Pix 11 News, the only camera inside as police plan and prepare.
And this is only one gang that got taken down. What they found is frightening.
Police say a ringleader of the group has been recruiting migrants who recently arrived in the city to do his dirty work. He even had a so-called inside man able to hack into cell phones.
Believe it or not, that he has his own IT guy in there apparently breaking into the phones.
Police also believe the group is responsible for committing violent crimes.
They're using stolen mopeds to ride up behind innocent New Yorkers. We're not going to tolerate this. This is an organized criminal enterprise where these cell phones are being stolen from orders.
Police arriving to this apartment building on Bronx Park East before sunrise Monday, where the suspects allegedly rent rooms inside an apartment. Once police hit the apartment door, they say the migrants inside immediately tried to get rid of evidence.
I'm sure they did.
Stolen cell phones out of their apartment window. So far, this group is accused of at least 62 crimes. Police are also looking into whether or not the men seen on this surveillance.
So, okay, gang activity here has gone through the roof over the last 2 years. And this crime that happened with this Border Patrol agent, it's the same pattern of crime we've been seeing for a long time. It's been tolerated in New York because nobody here wants to do anything to the actual criminals. This guy had a massive rap sheet all over, not just New York, but the entire country. And what happened? Sanctuary jurisdictions let him off the hook. Had this person been put in jail the first time they did something wrong, the second, third, fourth, fifth offenses never would have happened because they would have lost their freedom. But not only has New York City proven itself incapable of taking away the freedom of criminals who put our entire city in danger, they're also incapable of dealing with moped-related crime. They tried to pass a law that said that every purchased moped had to be licensed. But that law is useless when criminals are out there stealing these things from each other. They go up to a parked moped, break into that thing, and boom, they've got themselves a set of wheels that they never even paid for. That's all they've done, and it's done nothing. We've got this crime happening all over town, and it's only getting worse.
All those places, of course, have the same kind of sanctuary policies where these criminals commit crimes.
Okay,
and they
thank
don't turn
you.
them over to the federal government, so they keep committing those crimes.
Yes.
But there's been a lot of success over the past 6 months since Trump took office. Border encounters have plunged to 93%. Over 10,000 abandoned migrant children have been located. Migration through Panama's Darien Gap is down 99%, and more than 300,000 illegals have been arrested. 70% of them who had criminal charges or convictions. But this success has come at a pretty steep price.
Yes, it has.
An 830% increase in assaults on ICE agents compared to the same time last year. And this comes as federal authorities arrest a man in Ohio for allegedly making terroristic threats to kidnap, assault, and murder.
So people like this guy here that just got arrested, they're going to think that these illegal migrants who attacked an off-duty Border Patrol agent are heroes. They will now aspire to be like them, and they are proud of who they think are their brethren. They are brethren because they're all criminals together doing something terrible like this. And this guy right here could not have gone on his crime spree immediately after arriving in America illegally had he not come to a place that enabled him to do that. Guy got arrested and released more times than most of us had ever even been stopped for a speeding ticket. It says here in 2024, he was arrested for allegedly assaulting a pregnant woman. Let that sink in. This guy and people like him are not here to make America a better place at all. At least that's what it looks like to me. What do you think? Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Migrant gang members.
He makes a lot of good points, and I just want to thank a few of my individuals reposting. Thank you, Black Empower, for reposting the stream. And you also had a comment saying, even after committing crimes, they still continue to call them migrants, not illegal migrants. True. I want to call them criminals because that's what they are. You committed a crime. You crossed over the border illegally, period. And sometimes I have to catch myself because I'll say illegal migrants. No, you're a criminal. And here's the thing, and a lot of people may not want to hear this morning, but if you're a Christian and you are supporting illegal immigration, you need to really check your heart. Because biblically, we are supposed to follow the laws of the land. And if the laws of the land saying you are a criminal, if you illegally cross into somebody's country, you are a criminal, period. Like, that's it. We need to stop sugarcoating this and making excuses for people. And Dr. C says, delete all sanctuary limits. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is why when Trump came into office, he put forth the 1798 Act. And it was hilarious to me that, judges were like, that's illegal. No, it's not. It's actual legislation. Are you high? Are you crazy? Seriously? Stop that. The law is the law. If we are not a nation of laws, then what are we? Truly, what are we? We get to be a nation of laws or none at all. I'm really tired of this patchwork lawfare, because that's what it is. It's like this disgusting quilt that keeps being ripped apart. There is a passage in the Bible that talks about you cannot put new wine into old wineskins because it will burst. Yeah. We need law and order, period, across the board. But we need to stop making excuses. Now, this next video, I really wanted you guys to see this because this talks about, the ICE agents from their perspective. And some even worked under the Biden administration and the Trump administration. So I wanted to show you guys this to see the other side, because a lot of times we don't get to see the men and women that are actually working for ICE.
Back now with my exclusive sit down here in Dallas with immigration and customs enforcement agents, a group we rarely hear from. Take a listen to their thoughts on being called, quote, Nazis and their message to sanctuary cities around the United States.
Paul, let me direct this to you because you've been working with ICE the longest. What's the difference between this administration and prior ones?
Honestly, I can honestly say it's just more pace than anything. Our pace has increased in regards to how the administration and how many people the administration wishes to remove, how many people they wish to have in custody, things like that. But honestly, overall, the mission has remained the same.
All right, so explain that to me. So under the Trump administration, they want to remove more people. Is that true?
That's pretty much what I've seen. And of course, one is more active out on the streets. One is to be more visible. One ICE to actually represent the country in regards to showing that hey, we are out here arresting criminals. We're looking for individuals who are in our communities that should not be here. And in all honesty, that's pretty much what I've seen. I've just seen a significant increase in the activity that we've been doing.
Yeah. So, Andres, are people handled differently now than they were before? So, in other words, is the procedure the same now as it was when you started 9 years ago under a different president in terms of the operation, who you go after, how you carry it out? Any difference now?
Well, the only notable differences that I've seen from my perspective, since I work at the detention center, I've seen the situation change drastically in reference to we are now arresting more people and holding more people in custody rather than just releasing them out into the street. And to me, that's a milestone achievement because the more we keep people in custody, it helps us as case managers to enforce the secondary mission of ICE, which is deportation, removals. Releasing them under the previous, not to get too much into detail in the political spectrum, but the previous administration, we would release them under the humanitarian parole. Now that has changed. The moment this administration took over, that went away. More people are in our custody, more people are in detention. Our immigration procedure hearings with the Executive Office of Immigration Review is running smoothly, and we are seeing more deportation orders issued to criminal aliens, thus allowing us to remove them out of the country. So going back to your question, yes, there has been a drastic change, and that change has come in the form of more people being arrested and more people being deported rather than just released out into the streets.
There was a directive on July 8th that said that people don't need a bond hearing, that they will be held, that they would be remain in custody rather than release and have a bond hearing. How is that happening operationally for you? What's the change as a result of that?
I'm familiar with that because I'm a case manager at the Prairieland Detention Center, so I oversee the immigration efforts for cases that are under our custody. So the bond hearings remain the same. It's part of our due process in this nation, and it goes along with the due process of the constitutional laws that we have at the moment. So the bond process remains the same. Anybody in our custody can apply for a bond before an immigration judge. Now, whether the judge will grant it, that's a different story. It's depending on the circumstances and the criminal nature or the criminal history of the person applying for the bond. And that's determined by either they're a flight risk or danger or threat to the community. So to go back to your question, bond hearings are still happening. That is a due process right for every sovereign individual in the United States. And
But they're being approved less.
Well, that's, again, it's the approval process is based on certain factors, which is the individual a threat to the community? Is the individual a flight risk if we give a person a bond and he just skips town? Okay. Or if the person already has an immigration order of deportation. So those are the determining factors that a judge will determine before issuing a bond. The bond process will remain the same, and we will not and have not taken that right from people.
Selena, talk about collateral arrests. So you're going after a criminal who has a warrant for removal, and in the course of that, making other arrests that are called collateral arrests. What is that like?
We know our target, and we're encountering him, and let's say he has a passenger with him, and we ask for ID for our safety, and we vet them, and we run a criminal record of them, and if they're here in the country legally, like you said, they are a collateral, and we will take them into custody.
In terms of how ICE is presented in the media and by some members of Congress, this is from a Rhode Island state representative reacting to an ICE arrest of an admitted MS-13 member in Providence, Rhode Island, saying the Nazi Gestapo ICE thugs kidnapped another one of our neighbors in Providence this morning. They think they're above the law. I strongly condemn this act of terror. And he's not the only one who refers to ICE as Nazi or Gestapo. Paul, what goes through your mind when you hear that?
For me, I guess in a sense, I think that most people associate us with, we're being used as a police force for the federal government to do something sinister, right? In all honesty, we're just basically, we're following the law. We're basically enforcing immigration law, administrative law, and we have every right to do that. So in all honesty, that is really what we're doing. We're not out here just randomly picking up people looking to, based on race and things like that, just to remove people.
Yeah, I'm gonna pause that for a second because that's really sad, you guys. Like these men and women, they are risking their lives going out there because we actually have members of Congress. Members of Congress saying the things that they're saying. And here's the thing about these members of Congress. What they don't realize is when they speak those things and when they incite violence and when they are outside of the halls of Congress and not in their official capacity, the speech and debate clause does not protect them. But that's why they're speaking this way. I just want people to kind of catch up to why they're, because you think you're like, why are they even, because they think they're protected by the speech and debate clause, and they're not. Whenever they are online in an interview with any outlet and they say some of these things that they're saying, like that representative, calling ICE and then calling for the protection of somebody who's here illegally, who is actually a criminal on top of being a criminal, right? You're here illegally and and you've committed more crimes since you're here, and you're talking about that person's your neighbor. Stop gaslighting us. First of all, this is not a neighbor. This is not somebody who has our best interest at heart. And you're calling federal agents a Gestapo, which is an incitement because you know what you're doing. You're trying to actually turn the public against federal law enforcement, or enforcement, I should say. Speech and debate clause does not protect you. Newsflash. So a lot of these congressmen and women, House and Senate, they're going to find themselves in a lot of trouble here pretty soon. Unc, thank you for reposting the stream. And he says, good morning, Black America. And thank you, founder. And you are so welcome, Unc. Thank you so much for joining the stream this morning. Let's finish the video, but I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Kick them out of the country.
There was this moment that I watched in California at that same marijuana farm where people were being removed. And I just want to play this for you because I thought it was a shocking moment and between an ICE agent and a protester. Listen to this.
You look like you're ashamed. Look at your eyes, Hobo. I see it. I know you have a soul. You know this is wrong. This is bullshit.
Do something better with your life.
Tell me your response to that. You know?
I haven't met anybody that works for ICE that is ashamed of what they do. We're all proud law enforcement officers and the hardest working people I've ever met in my life. And I'm kind of young, but I've had several different jobs, and from did a little bit of construction before to been a police officer before. And the hardest working people I've ever met work for this agency.
Paul, there's a goal by the Trump administration potentially to remove 1 million people a year. Is that an attainable goal? And do you think that you're getting there?
We've been provided a lot of tools, and we're actually in active status to try to achieve that goal. And I can't ever say that we're not going to, but if we don't, I think that the goal is to, in all honesty, try and get out as many people who should not be here.
I'm going to stop you right there. Iran, again, deported 500,000 people in 15 days. I need ICE to call them. I need you to make a call, Tom Homan, Christy Note, like whoever is working for the Department of Homeland Security and then ICE. Y'all talking about, oh, we might be able to. Yes, you can. Don't say maybe. The American people demanded y'all done got the money. So there are no more excuses if you don't get these people up out of here. Iran, again, deported 500,000 people in 15 days, which means we can deport 1 million people a month. Come on now. At this point, it's just an excuse. Nope. I'm not putting up with it. I don't know if anybody else out there. Nope. We're not putting up with you. Make phone calls, call ICE, call DHS. We need to wear them out. 500,000 people in 15 days. I need somebody to make a t-shirt, make it look good so we can press that. Okay. We need to press that. 500,000 people in 15 days. If Iran can do it, we can do it. I'm not going to be outdone by Iran. We need to get this done. 500,000, 15 days. Let's finish the video.
As possible. We're going to do our best to locate as many criminal aliens and schedule as many removals as possible to ensure the safety of this country.
Andres, what about the criticism of ICE facilities when you hear people say that, people are being held in cages, that these are barbaric detention centers? You work in that part of the system. What do you say?
Well, I can attest to that firsthand. We don't have cages in the detention center. We have bunks, we have beds, warm showers, and there's tablets in each individual dorm. I don't refer to them as jails. They're dorms, they're dormitories. The detainees there, I visit them almost twice a week, perhaps. And the accommodations that are given to them are very interesting because they get tablets. They get tablets that allows them to connect with their families, with their relatives. Phone calls. There's plenty of phones there available for them to use. Like my colleague said, they get 3 meals a day. We even go as far as to try to accommodate certain diets that the detainees in our custody request. To debunk that statement about cages, I can tell you right now, we have no cages at our detention centers, nor have I ever seen a cage in one of our detention centers.
Let me ask you this, Paul. President Obama, when you look at the numbers, deported more people from the country than President Trump. Why are you all getting so much backlash now that didn't exist during the Obama administration or the Biden administration, who were also, as you say, doing the same process of detention and deportation? Is that true? It's the same process. So why is the treatment different?
Looking back at both administrations, I think if we look at how individuals were deported, many individuals came into the country from what my perspective and from working on the border, working at other facilities, many individuals were arrested on the border. There were a lot more arrests on the border than there were interior. Mm-hmm. And with that said, those individuals that came to the country believing that, they were going to get some type of status, things like that. So we were able to remove more people that way. With the current message that's out there, the political message that is out there, no one will have quarter here, in a sense, right? So therefore, you have less people coming in through the border. So many of the individuals that we are seeking to arrest, many of the individuals we're arresting are in the local jails, and many of them are criminal aliens. Those are the individuals we are actually arresting more of.
Andres, any thoughts on sanctuary cities? You guys have cooperation here in Texas, but in places like Chicago and New York and Los Angeles, they don't have that cooperation, the other ICE agents.
Well, my message would be, listen to your constituents. Listen to the people that put you in office, who elected you. Listen to their voice. What is it that they want? Do they want safe communities? Do they want to feel safe at night, taking their kids to the park? Reach out to your voters. See what is it that they want, and then reconsider your position on harsh immigration rhetoric against the men and women of ICE. But my message would be, reach out to your voters. They're the ones who put you in that position, and you'll be surprised what people think and what they want versus what they go by on social media.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox.
And it is very interesting, the climate that we're in. And Rock says there's a difference between America and Iran. The people in Iran are not interfering, nor is the government. I believe America could achieve the goal if government and the people get out of the way. And I'm gonna just assume something when you say government, like politicians, right? That get in the way. And Sassy Lady says, morning, blessings. Thank you, Miss Sassy Lady, for your sunshine every day. I really appreciate it. And the Unk says, why is it that in these interviews, the only people that I know qualified to answer these questions are foundational Black Americans? I don't know. But I am grateful that they did show a different perspective, because I think there needs to be some humanity. And remembrance of humanity with these ICE officers and agents. A lot of times because they are in tactical gear, and that is to protect them while they are out serving and trying to keep the community safe. And the rhetoric that has been developed, unfortunately, by politicians at the state, federal, and local level, that is on them, right? That is on the politicians and the rhetoric that they've caused. I still truly believe that we can get 500,000 people out of here in 15 days. It's just a matter of, do you want to do it? Because at the end of the day, you're keeping people here that shouldn't be here. And the question really needs to be the why. You know how they always say, what's your why? Why are you keeping people here? They're here illegally. They have committed a crime. I don't care if you stole a pack of gum, it's still a crime. It's still a crime. It's a pack of gum, but it's still a crime. And they keep trying to word salad immigration and make it seem like, oh, they just crossed the border. They didn't do anything wrong. They committed a crime. They broke our borders. They broke respect in any, in my opinion, type of relationship that we can have between them and this country. You've broken that. The minute you stepped over here illegally, you disregarded the country. You've broken the trust, and you should not be allowed here, period, because there's a proper port of entry. That's why. And Unc says, these people are trying to be too politically correct instead of telling the people to get out of the way. You'd rather be nice, or you'd rather be nice if politically correct. Yeah, and for some people it is, right? They are, especially the melanated Black gentleman that was up there. I'm not going to call him a Black American because I don't know people's background. So I will say the melanated person up there. They were all melanated, but the darker melanated gentleman up there, you know, he was very much trying to be politically correct. And when people are interviewed, and just full disclosure, whenever you are in a federal agency and they allow you to do interviews like that with news outlets, you are given talking points. There are only certain things that you can and cannot say. There is a publicist standing there to your right saying, shaking their head or yes or no, that's okay, how you responded. So I don't want people to sit here and act like, oh, wow, they were really measured, because they had to be, because they're not going to just let anybody say what they want to say on these outlets. And Dr. C says, the why is the corpse that run this country, the corporations, that run this country still want cheap labor force at our very lives. Yeah, at our very lives' expense. Exactly. And that's what it comes back to. It does come back to the money. It does come back to the dollar. They do not respect the country. Yet and still, we live in this climate where we have allowed these corporations to own our Congress. They own it. They own y'all. They own the Congress. Now, this last video I'm going to play is going to make you a little upset. For some of you, it's less than 5 minutes. But it is good, because when I saw it, I was like, ooh, okay, calm down. It's okay. It's going to be all right. But I wanted to share this one with you.
And I would like to thank all the members, 20 in total, Democrats and Republicans, who have joined us as original co-sponsors, in this fight. It takes a lot of courage to step up and say that you want to be part of the solution, especially on the issue of immigration, one of the toughest in the country. So I would like to express my deepest gratitude to you all, specifically to Veronica Escobar, who is my co-sponsor in this bill. My message is that the economy is the most powerful engine, our economy, the most powerful engine of prosperity mankind has ever known. We just signed the big, beautiful bill ushering in a new, modern era for American greatness. But there is one shadow still looming over the economy: our immigration system. That's why we're here today to introduce the Dignity Law. Dignity is not amnesty. Dignity does not grant path to citizenship to anybody. Dignity is the Solomonic way to fix a 40-year problem. Last week, we in Congress, through the BBB, we allocated $150 billion to secure the southern border. But the truth is that we still have over 10 million people or more working in construction, hospitality, agricultural, dairies, fisheries, slaughterhouses, who are undocumented, but who are not criminals. Human beings invisible.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. They're undocumented, but they're not criminals? See, it's that right there. It's that right there. And her name is Representative Maria Salazar. She is a Republican. And Sassy Lady says, but they illegals are the problem. Look, you don't get to sit there and say, yeah, they're here work, but they're not criminals. Yes, they are. Because the minute they cross that border illegally, they broke the social contract. I need people to get there. You can't rob my house okay, or come into my home and I didn't invite you in, right? And then you just sit there and like, why would you ask me to leave? I didn't do anything. You came into my house and I didn't ask you to come here. You didn't ask to come in. You're here unlawfully. You need to go back to your country and you need to apply to come here lawfully. Now, see, when I break it down like that, people are like, well, that sounds weird. Yeah, it does. But that's what we're doing. The social contract of our country is broken, period. You cannot keep telling these people, well, you crossed the border illegally, but you didn't commit a crime. So stop that. You are stroking sin, and that's why we're here after amnesty. And Heavenly, thank you so much for reposting the stream. But that's why we are in the mess that we are in. Amnesty, the first time, was supposed to stop this. And we have members of Congress that actually were there in 1986. You don't want to fix this. You don't want to fix this. You want to see us on the ground at each other's throats about this. I'm going to try to get through this video, y'all. And I'm going to get to some more better information. Thank you for letting me rant. But that one, it just is a slap in the face to American citizens, and especially a slap in the face to immigrants that have done this the right way. And to say it's not even a path to citizenship, are you kidding me right now? Then they need to go home.
To the average American, but without them, we will not have food by this Friday. Yes, they broke the law, but someone gave them a job because they needed those workers who are still needed today. The Secretary of Homeland Security said it herself. She said it herself clearly. Congress needs to write legislation to fix this mess. Well, here is the legislation, madam. No more need to choose between amnesty or deportation. Dignity Bill is the answer. And here's how it works. If you are undocumented and you have been in the country for more than 5 years, you do not have a criminal record, you're working and paying taxes, you can come out of the shadows with no fear and apply for the dignity status. That means they will pay a fine of $7,000 over 7 years, buy their own health insurance with no access to any federal programs, and contribute 1% of their salary to the United States Treasury. That is $50 billion plus. Just do the math. In return,
I'm sorry, I had to stop her again. Because all you're doing is making it okay to violate federal law, because we know these states are still going to give them subsidies because they already are. That's what these sanctuary cities and states are doing. Ma'am. Really? Oh, they're not going to get any federal funding. They're still going to get it at the state level because that's what's been happening. So what about Title 8, 1324, harboring illegal people here? So that's just gone. Now. Yeah, I'm recommending you to. I'm going to have to recommend you because you're okay with harboring illegal people here. I don't care what policy you write. It's still illegal activity. This is, I'm telling you, messing with me. Yeah, $7,000 over 7 years. Right, sassy lady. And Unc says, this is why I say they have the wrong people speaking for the people. They should invite you founder to speak for the people. Thank you. Because I'm just kind of hot under the collar about it. I'm tired of being gaslit. This is gaslighting 101. This is gaslighting 101. It's wrong, but really? Yeah, I'm going to recommend you to the DOJ for Title 8, Section 1324, Representative Maria Salazar. because you are encouraging people to violate federal law. You are not supposed to harbor illegal aliens, period. I don't care what you do. Fix the immigration laws. This isn't fixing the immigration laws. This is like putting a Band-Aid on a cut from the neck up. Or navel up, I should say, from navel to nose. Yeah. Imagine somebody having a cut and then they put like a little Surrey strip. This isn't helping. This is hurting. People aren't going to have food on their table by Friday. Please, automation is in place in farming. Wake up. And guess how many? There's millions of Americans that could be working right now that are able-bodied, but you don't want to pay them. Just admit what it is. You don't want to pay people. You don't want people to have dignity and respect. No, you don't. How dare you put the word dignity on this? How dare you? Oh, yeah, we're going to have some words. We're going to have some words.
They will never be deported. They will be able to go home for Christmas or to go bury their mother and come back to the United States to continue working and paying taxes. It gives them a dignified life in the promised land. Period.
No.
Now, I want to speak directly to the President of the United States. President Trump. Sir, the same God who saved you from death in Pennsylvania 1 year ago and who put you back in the Oval Office against all odds is the same God Almighty who millions and millions are begging to for some type of dignity, not amnesty.
Okay, I'm sorry. Don't. I had to brief y'all. Don't bring God into this. Because you look like Satan himself saying that. Already said, oh, yeah, they did break the law. We're not saying that's okay. But we're just going to give them a workaround. You sound like Satan. That's all Satan does all day long. Are you for real right now? She said, no. No, she said they can go back home to visit. Yeah, they can go back home to visit, but then they cannot be allowed re-entry. That's what she's saying. They can go back and forth. So if they live in Honduras, they can go to Honduras and come back and work here. Or if they live in Mexico, if they live in China, if they live in Africa, because we need to remember that just because the media is making the face of immigration, people from Latin descent, everybody here is not from Latin America that's illegally here. They're from China. They're from Switzerland. They're from Russia. They're from Africa. They're from parts of the Middle East. There was like 200 different countries that are here illegally currently right now. But they want to make this a Latin issue. Like it's just Latin people that are here illegally. It's just Latin people working here illegally. That's not true. That's a fallacy. And for her to bring God into this, that's disgusting. Because God doesn't deal in sin like this. God deals in truth. You've got to repent and turn it around. He can't touch sin. He can't touch this. How dare you? I'm sorry, but that hurts my heart because I am a Christian and I fight every day to make sure I live my life in the right way. And have somebody talk about God like that? Not on my watch. Snuck says, immigrants will always look out for immigrants at the end of the day. There is no good immigrant on our American soil, illegal or not. And it's sad facts. Sad facts. He says, wow, she needs to be deported now. Yeah, we might need to make a suggestion because you got an accent, ma'am. Where you from? Who your people? What we doing? Yeah. We're going to pull her up full mast in a second. Let's get through the video.
Sir, I believe that you could be for immigration what Lincoln was for slavery and Reagan was for communism. You are a businessman who understands our economy needs a reliable working force in areas where other Americans don't participate. You stopped Iran on its tracks. You stopped China from eating our lunch. You took the economic oxygen away from Maduro, and you signed the BBB the day that you said you were going to sign it. You have been called to do this, to fix this 40-year mess with just one signature, yours. Human dignity is one of the 7 pillars of American conservatism. For that reason, Mr. President, the eye of history is upon us. Some of the most shameful moments in our past as a country relates to how we have treated immigrants who are not criminals. And we are in one of those moments. If we get this wrong, future generations will pay the price in shame. But if we get it right, the United States will continue to lead in liberty, and you will have been the commander-in-chief. It's in your hands, Mr. President. May the Lord guide you. Historical moment.
Yeah, she brought God into this. Look, and Sassy said they nerve to bring up slavery. Absolutely. Oh, she threw the kitchen sink of just emotional rhetoric at this. The manipulation. I hope y'all caught all that manipulation and gaslighting going on. It was just disgraceful. Just disgraceful. So let's just, let's bring her up full mass. Because, look, I found her, y'all. I found her. Her name is Representative Maria Salazar. She's a representative for Florida's 27th district, which is probably why she has a little bit of an accent. I'm not sure of her background. She could be Cuban. She could be Honduran. I'm not sure. Salazar, that's more of a Spaniard Latin name. It's not necessarily Mexican. I'm just saying. So she tends to show purple triangle. That's how she votes. So they'll determine how somebody votes, if it's far left or far right or somewhere in the middle. And so this is where her ideology is. It's kind of somewhere towards the middle. But this is how she votes. She sits on the following committees: Foreign Affairs, obviously, and then Financial Services. This is some of the legislation that she sponsored: the Takedown Act, Dispose Act, Forgotten Heroes of the Holocaust Congressional Medal Act, Migratory Birds of America's Conservation Enhancement Act. It's just stuff. I'm just like, okay. Yeah, this is what she's done. Yeah. So that's her, I wouldn't say scorecard, but that's some of the stuff that she's done. Sponsors bills primarily on these issues: international affairs, commerce, immigration, okay, foreign trade, health, armed services, public lands, government operational, and politics. So some recently introduced bills: 493 to secure the border and reform immigration laws. I guess that's what this whole Dignity Act is. I'm not sure. I have to look it up because I didn't look up the actual act, but we will look that up because it's concerning. It's extremely concerning. But the other thing I wanted to look at is, it's called Open Secrets. And I think I already had it open. I did. Okay. So she raised $410,000 with political action committees. And then medical center contributed this. And so it shows how much money she's raised. She raised over $3 million, spent 1.8, cash on hand 1.4, debts 14,000. But what I noticed and stood out to me when I went to these top industries that supported her campaign, there was, let me see, go down to it, sector totals, right? Ideological and single issue. There was over 594,000 raised in there. And it's weird. I'm like, what does that even mean? Health, lawyer, miscellaneous business, but it's still business. Ideological in single issue? Over 819,000 in that realm. I found that strange. Because what does that even mean? Ideological single issue. Are we talking about immigration? Because I don't see immigration anywhere up here. I see agribusiness. I don't see immigration anywhere. So maybe this is where immigration falls in. Yeah. Because I did see another video of a gentleman. I guess he's a business owner, and he went to the Hill and he suggested to them that they should put a bill in place that protects people that haven't committed any crimes here. So they haven't stole or murdered anybody here, right? After illegally crossing the border, even though they're criminals after they do that. Duh. But they haven't committed any other crimes. He's saying, is there a way to put a bump stop in place, basically, where they can't have a pathway to citizenship through this, but it will at least allow them to work and pay taxes. So that's what they're doing. And Black Flag says, great day to you, Black Americans. Thank you so much, Black Flag, for your message and reposting the space. This is disgusting, you guys. This is truly, truly sad and disgusting. And something that I looked up because I was just curious about it. And I wanted to, see like, well, what can we do, right? So I went to ChatGPT. Had some questions. I said, can you let me know if crime with the cartels and trafficking got better after amnesty or if it got worse, right? And so his chat's response was regarding cartel and trafficking related crime after 1986 amnesty. Here's what the evidence of historical trends show. Did crime improve or worsen after 1986? It says drug trafficking and cartel activity got worse. Okay. But it says it's not because of amnesty. We're not going to blame amnesty for this. But we're not going to deny crime got worse. And Trunk says, if foundational Americans don't take back our government, these misrepresentatives of our government will continue to happen. There are too many immigrants in our federal and state government seats. Facts. These are facts. Now, a lot of people may take that offensively and be like, oh, you're being a racist. No, see, a racist is actually a verb. You have to do something to be racist. I haven't done anything to be a racist. I am not a racist. I am pointing out facts. Unc is pointing out facts. If you are trying to represent your people, you're going to do what's in the best interest of your people. And what we are seeing is people are doing in the best interest of their people at the expense of everybody else. Period. And that's what amnesty did. That's why I had to ask ChatGPT the question. Even though ChatGPT goes, yeah, activity got worse, but it wasn't because of amnesty. Okay. So you allowed 3 million people citizenship. And this is a backdoor to amnesty because trust me, they're not going to stop there if they get this. They'll be like, oh, well, we gave them dignity. Can't we just make them citizens? This is backdoor amnesty. And I don't care what anybody says. It is. Stop that. You already said they committed a crime walking over here illegally. They need to go home. They need to do this the right way. This is nothing but a slap in the face to people that have done it the right way. And see, I want her to talk to the people that have done immigration the right way, how they feel about this. Because I'm telling you, those are some of the people that put her in office. And I know they are crawling in their skin right now, mad and angry. And if they're not, I don't know what to say, but I would be very upset. So it says in the late 1980s, 1990s, this period was the rise of powerful Mexican cartels, including Sinaloa and Juarez cartels. These organizations became dominant players in the drug trade, especially as the U.S. cracked down on Colombian trafficking routes. The shift in trafficking routes from the Caribbean to Mexico, due to better enforcement in the Caribbean, gave rise to a more powerful cartel along the U.S.-Mexican border. So they were stopping it in the Caribbean. They were like, oh, you can't be doing that over here. But the U.S. wasn't stopping it. It's a key point. These changes were largely driven by U.S. drug demand, international enforcement strategies, and weak Mexican state control. Not the 1986 amnesty. So this is what ChatGPT was basically trying to explain to me. It was like, amnesty didn't make this problem. This problem was going to be there kind of irregardless of amnesty. But I just think amnesty made it easier. That's just my opinion. So is that there was no credible link to the amnesty and the increase in cartel crime or human trafficking. Border enforcement policies after IRCA may have worsened trafficking conditions. After IRCA border security ramped up, making it harder to cross, smugglers, later cartel connected, started charging more and controlling routes, increasing their power. So as the U.S. made enforcement, that's what it's saying. So I was like, okay. It was just one of those things. I just had the question. I said, can you summarize the Dignity Act, pros and cons? And that's what we just saw the video on. So I guess this was introduced in 2023. Now they must be reprising it. Like I said, I need to go to congress.gov. But Maria Salazar, there she is, and Veronica Escobar, that was the lady in the pink dress that was behind her to her left. And she's a Democrat from Texas. It's a bipartisan immigration reform bill introduced in Congress in 2023. It aims to address border security, labor needs, and the status of undocumented immigrants living in the U.S. These are criminals living in the U.S. I'm not calling them immigrants anymore, and I'm not calling them undocumented. They're criminals that have crossed our border, and they've broken the social contract, period. And they need to go home. And especially the ones that have been here 10, 20, 30 years, they really need to go because they have no respect for the country at all, period. And some of them actually own businesses, which is crazy. But yeah, they need to go home. So border security, it funds modernized border infrastructure, surveillance, and increased personnel, which is weird because we already have that. Requires mandatory use of E-Verify. We have that. Targets drug and human trafficking through stricter enforcement. That's never going to be. I'm sorry. I'm just shooting this whole thing down. Dignity program for these criminals. So it offers a 7-year program for criminals to gain legal status. I'm not sure how we're turning criminals into legals, giving them, like, again, it's a slap in the face to people who have done this the right way. They must pass a background check, pay taxes, and contribute $5,000 over 7 years. And I know that she was saying $7,000 over 7 years, so it might have been updated since the question asked ChatGPT. Because if you ask it a certain way, it's going to pull certain information. So no access. I think she was talking about a fine or something like that. Anyway, so no access to federal benefits or citizenship during this time. No. So that means there's a shelf life on this, and they can still apply for citizenship after this, after committing a crime. You've already committed the crime. You're going to give them away because you keep saying, oh, there's no path to citizenship. It says there's no access to federal benefits or citizenship during this time. It's a 7-year program. So all they got to do is wait out for 7 years and then they can apply. What are we talking about? And then if they can't apply for a redemption program later, which allows citizenship after additional requirements. I need everybody to write this woman massive letters saying, if you don't stop caping for these criminals, they are criminals. How dare you say, well, you're not going to have dinner on your table? Guess what? We will. Because these companies that are undercutting American citizens by hiring people here that are here illegally, they're going to stop it. You're going to stop allowing these companies to do this. Go after the companies and get these illegal people off of our soil. We don't want them here. How about that? I don't want you here. If you were here illegally, I don't want you here. Oh, yeah, you heard it from me first. I don't want you here. I don't want you on the soil. I don't want your children here. I don't want you here because you don't care about the United States of America. You want to turn it into whatever you left. Because if you wanted to be an American, you'd have done it the right way. They're not talking about vetting any of these people. None of that. None of it. I don't want them here. So legal immigration reform streamlines visa for agricultural, high-skilled, and seasonal workers, reduces visa backlogs, and clears employment-based bottlenecks. This, ladies and gentlemen, is called amnesty. That's all that is. That's all that is, because you're not talking about vetting any of these people. These people have no respect for our country. Stop that. Stop it. Stop lying to us. Support for dreamers. Yeah, because they don't have a pathway, by the way. Offers a path to permanent legal residency and eventual citizenship for DACA recipients. There you go. There's your sign. This is all amnesty, ladies and gentlemen, wrapped up. All of it's amnesty. Mandatory civics and English courses. Really? For both the dignity and redemption program? How dare you put redemption on here? How dare you? Redemptive means to take something and reprise it and give it the respect that it should have. I have the redemption party because both parties, Republican and Democrat, don't care about this country, period. The end. And I believe this country is worth saving. That is the root of redemption. To believe that something is worth saving. I'm not saving criminals that are okay with being criminals. Because we have a pathway to citizenship. It's called our immigration laws. It's called naturalization. We have a process. Stop trying to subvert it. I'm telling you, this has really got me on edge, y'all. So the cons of the act: no immediate citizenship, harsh financial penalties, increased enforcement, right? E-Verify, too complex and lengthy. Talking about the critics argue the process, dignity plus redemption program, it's too long and convoluted. But again, I asked for the pros and cons. No guarantee of passage. So despite bipartisan support, it faces tough opposition and extremes on both sides of the aisle. So the bottom line, the Dignity Act is one of the most comprehensive bipartisan immigration proposals in decades, aiming to balance compassion with law and order. It provides a middle ground solution, legal status with the accountability, stronger borders, and a path, albeit long, to citizenship for those who qualify. So I said, can you give me a breakdown of those who have applied for legal immigration compared to those here illegally, along with those who have deportation orders? Because I kind of want to know, because, we'll hear these people have deportation orders and these people need to do this. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, well, what's the breakdown, really? So currently, and this is what ChatGPT was able to pull, we've got 11 million that are criminals that are here, living in the U.S. without legal status, including visa overstays and illegal border crossings. So they just walk through the wall. Permanent, so legal permanent residence is 13.5 million. Okay, includes those on the path to citizenship or with long-term residency. And there are those individuals, because I asked. People with active deportation orders, 1.2 million. So there's not that many, but that's still a lot because we don't know who they're tied to, right? So these are individuals ordered removed, but still in the United States, often due to appeals or enforcement priorities, or they just didn't show up to the court date. You know what I'm saying? Like, or they were told to leave and they just didn't leave, because that's why ICE has been in some of these court proceedings. Because, after they come out and the judge is saying, okay, you're being ordered to leave, and this is maybe like the second time, and ICE is there to detain them, people are like, oh my gosh, no. They were supposed to be out before. Like, what are we doing? Tatas, thank you so much for reposting the stream. And then they've got a case backlog of 1.3 awaiting asylum decision. Many are not deportable while their cases are open. So we've got 1.3 million people that are like, they're just waiting. What are they doing? How are they living? How are they even surviving here? I'm pretty sure they're not suffering. Okay. That's all I can say. They're more than likely in a sanctuary state or city. They're either in California, Illinois, or New York, or Massachusetts. That's where they are. Annual legal immigration applicants. So they get 1 to 1.2 a year new, right? To apply via family, employment, refugee, or diversity visa program. So those are the people that want to do it the right way. We've got 1 to 1.2 million trying to do it the right way. The DACA, which is a deferred action, these are young undocumented immigrants protected from deportation under DACA. Now, DACA is nothing but an executive order, but when it was challenged the first time by the Trump administration, SCOTUS was like, well, you can't deport them. That's illegal. What do you mean? It's not a law. DACA isn't anything. They're just protected under an executive order that SCOTUS will not allow to be overturned. It's weird. And Congress has never stepped up to fix these people. Never. But now they want to put it under this dignity bill. Too much, too little, too late. Go home. Get out. You don't respect this country. You don't. Stop it. Temporary protected status. Yeah, that's this crazy one. So nationals from countries designated unsafe for return. So basically, there are people that were on different orders. This should have been reversed, but there's still 600,000 people that are still here under that. So we got to find out what's happening with that. Visa overstays, and this always happens. That's like 850,000 people a year that just overstay their visa. Entered legally, but stayed beyond the visa expiration. Many blend into the undocumented. They do. They'll come here from all kinds of places. Vacation visas, work visas, student visas, and just stay because they know nothing's going to happen to them. And that's the problem. That is the problem. It is called enforcement. We are either a nation of laws or we are not. We do not excuse people for breaking the law, period. But this representative is okay with that because she said it. Said it out her face like we weren't listening to you. Ma'am. Yeah, we know they're here illegally. Well, then if you know that, why are you protecting them? That's all I got to say to you, because you look like a liar. You do not look like anybody of any moral character. And then you want to bring God into the conversation? Stop that. Stop it. So it gave me context. It said of the 11 million undocumented immigrants, about 50 to 60% crossed the border illegally, and then 40 to 45% overstayed their visas, tourist, student, work. Right. And that's what makes up the 11 million. But there's still the 850,000 a year outside of this 11 million that it keeps happening. It's like a revolving door. Sad. Said 1 out of 10 documented immigrants has an outstanding deportation order. Undocumented, the criminals, right? So 1 in 10 of them has a deportation order, but deportation is often delayed due to humanitarian concerns, legal protections, and political priorities. I want all these people in prison. Like I told you. Like I told you. You don't want me to be president because I'm locking all y'all up. And people will probably say, well, oh my gosh, that's dangerous. All y'all need to be in prison if you don't fix this. Got us out here looking crazy. Stop it. The American people deserve better than you. If you can't fix this, and you have the ability to fix this, and especially you people in Congress, if you don't fix this right, you better not pass that Dignity Act. That better be DOA. I better not see a piece of movement on it ever. Ever. And this woman, this right here, you live in the Florida area, you better not vote her back in office when it comes time to do for her. Yeah, she's district. She's a House representative. Yeah, she's up for re-election in 2026. You better not vote her back, and she is dangerous to this country. And I'm going to call it like it is. She's dangerous to our country. She does not care about the Constitution. She does not care about the United States, because if she did, she wouldn't be doing what she's doing now. I am calling balls and strikes. I am not letting people off the hook for this. How dare you stand in our face and say, yeah, they're here, they're criminals, but we need to protect them. No, you sound worse than a Democrat. Worse. Because you're trying to bring God into this. Look, let me get on to the next subject, y'all. So we'll leave that at that. I'm trying to think what I said. Oh, it said, has the Supreme Court struck down DACA? That was the other thing I needed to find out. Not quite. It said the Supreme Court has never deemed DACA itself unlawful. What it did in June 2020 was it blocked Trump-era efforts to revoke DACA, not declare the program illegal. The ruling held a recession process violated. The ruling held the recession process violated federal administrative law, but left the underlying DACA policy intact, which is weird. So in Texas in 2021 and also in 2023, it ruled the original DACA creation bypassed proper rule making, violating the Administrative Procedure Act. Okay. Blocked new applicants, but allowed renewals to continue under a court-issued stay. So the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in 2025 confirmed DACA is unlawful in part, specifically work authorization, because granting it exceeded executive authority. However, it upheld deferred action protection from deportation as lawful presidential discretion. This ruling applies only to Texas. Nationwide existing DACA protections for current recipients remain in effect. It's weird because, it was put in place as an executive order by Obama. And I think Obama's intent of doing that was that Congress would take it and enact it into immigration law, right? They would just do it and fix it. Well, they never did. So it's an executive order. And when Trump was like, okay, fix it or, do it or lose it, they didn't want to fix it. So what are we doing? So it's just laying. Literally, these people are laying in limbo. So the Supreme Court in 2020 didn't rule on it. They didn't rule it illegal, but they blocked poor recession process. And then the Fifth Circuit ruled parts unlawful, specifically work permits, but allowed deferment from deportation. So they can't be deported, but what are we doing here? But that's why you see it in the Dignity Act. So I just wanted you guys to know. There are just certain things I need y'all to know. DACA and the Constitution, DACA deferred, was created executive action under Obama in 2012. It does not grant legal status or citizenship, but defers deportation and grants work authorization to eligible individuals. So it was basically a workaround for people that were brought over here when they were like 2-3 years old. They weren't born here, right? So they can't claim the 14th Amendment, which is crazy. So they weren't born here, but they were brought here. And because they grew up here, it's like, okay, well, what do we do with these people? Because they've been working as if it's been okay for them to work here, even though they were brought here illegally, even though it's all criminal activity. We're just still not going to call it criminal activity. We're not going to deport people. Yeah. So that's what DACA is for anybody out there that needs to know. And I need you guys to know this because it affects our lives. So 2023, 2025, the Fifth Circuit ruled that DACA's creation exceeded executive authority and was unlawful, especially the work authorization part. But it stopped short of declaring all deferred action unconstitutional. It's weird. They need to get this out of the Supreme Court and out of these lower courts. Congress, do your job. Again, do your job. I want you to do your job. But what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to pass laws protecting criminal activity. And that's what the Dignity Act will do, period. I don't care who doesn't like me saying it like that. And with that, we're going to take a quick break. When we do come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the Genius Act because it did pass on July 18th. And that is some information that you guys definitely need to know. Thank you so much for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News, and I will see you on the other side.
A life empowered is closer than you think. We're all looking for a better way. Reimagine what's next with a new sense of exuberance. Why not power on like you mean it? Or power off blissfully? A better sleep is a better awake. You've never moved like this before. With the energy nature intended. Imagine reprogramming the way you look at the speed of science. At longevity. At exhilaration. It's next level rejuvenation. Taking your well-being from the inside out and outside in. The light within is ready to ignite. Be the light. LifeWave.
And thank you for joining us here on Unfiltered Vision News. We are back bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern. My name is Dr. Ashaki Noni Nichols. And if you have been with us since 7, I have been on one, y'all, about illegal immigration. It drives me nuts. But here's my thought on it. If you came here illegally, you had no intent of doing the right thing. Period. Because you started off wrong. The way you start is the way you will finish. If you came here illegally, that is how you intend to be. Now, there are a lot of politicians out there, and they'll talk a good game and they'll dance because they want people's eyes and ears on them. And I'm not here to soothe you. I'm not a politician. I'm the founder of a political party. And I call the people that want to serve the people because that's who they are. They're servants of the people, these candidates. I call them to be truthful. Always. Because if you want to be a liar, you got plenty of parties to choose from. But you're not going to do that with the Redemption Party. And that is the main ask I have for them. Always. But our country is in a very bad place, in my opinion. Oh, Sway Me, thank you so much for reposting the stream. It's just in a bad place. And we can do better. And I want to inform you guys more. So I want to say last week when I found out about it, I talked about it. It's called the Genius Act, 1582. And it did become law on July 18th. And so I asked ChatGPT. He also point out the back door to the central bank digital currency, pretty much if there is one, and how the government can shut down bank accounts, right? So it says absolutely. Here's the detail of the act, officially signed into law on July 18th, and how it creates a back door for a central bank digital currency, CBDC, and the potential for the government freeze or shutdown of bank accounts. Okay, so this is already in the law. So it's not something, it's sad because I know Marjorie Taylor Greene, she was trying to scream from the rooftops to every outlet that would have her, like, do not do this. She voted against it, and she is from the state of Georgia. She is a Republican. It's the full name is Guiding and Establishing National Innovation, for U.S. Stablecoins Acts. So I know a lot of people are like, what's a stable coin? A stable coin is something that can be used like the dollar, pretty much. And the purpose is to regulate U.S. dollar-backed stable coins through a federal licensing framework. So the government wanted more control over the different digital currencies that are out there, like Bitcoin. I will use Bitcoin as an example, like Bitcoin, Litecoin. There's a few different ones, XRP. There's just a few different stable coins that are out there. So it establishes a federal licensing regime for stable coins. Only permitted payment stable coin issuers can legally issue stable coins. So I'm not sure. I don't think Bitcoin is a stable coin because I know they are decentralized. So I'll have to definitely look that up. I didn't ask ChatGPT that. Does it apply to Bitcoin? Didn't ask. I just wanted to get the framework of the bill. It says these issuers must be a nationally chartered bank or trust company, a state licensed trust or money transmitter subject to federal approval, a non-bank entity with approval from the Office of the Comptroller of Currency. So they want control. They want control of the money, one way or another. Strict reserve requirements. So stable coins must be backed 1-to-1 by US dollars, US Treasury securities, overnight reverse repo agreements. Reserves must be segregated from company assets and audited monthly. So basically, if I've got a company and I'm using $100,000 in stable coins and my company is worth 300,000, it can't just be worth 300,000 on paper. There always has to be that 100,000 that's liquidable to that stable coin, because what people were doing, and it happened with Robinhood, it happened with a lot of hedge funds, actually. It's kind of crazy. They were betting more money out than they actually had. And so when the check came due, they weren't able to pay people, basically. I mean, that's the short of it. So enhanced oversight and surveillance. So stablecoin issuers must comply with Bank Security Act, Know Your Customer, anti-money laundering. They always talk about the laundering part, even though the U.S., I want to say it was under Biden, they bought like $5 billion in Bitcoin. That's decentralized, by the way. They can do anything they want to with. There's that. The Treasury and Federal Reserve gain expanded powers to monitor, freeze, burn, which is digitally destroy, stablecoins tied to illicit or non-compliant activity. What does that even mean? That's subjective. That's very subjective because it doesn't work out, right? That's crazy. But that's what they can do. That's what they've given them the power to do. So the Treasury, the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve, as everybody knows, isn't a federal agency, but you've given them power. None of this is good for us. I'm sorry. None of this. limits on foreign stablecoin users. So non-US entities can only issue stablecoins in the US if they operate under comparable regulatory frameworks recognized by the Treasury. This gives the US significant control over who can enter its digital currency ecosystem. So federal preemption over states. State-regulated issuers must comply with federal standards, reducing state-level financial independence, creates a national digital payment framework controlled by federal agencies. So this was the other thing I wanted to find out. So the back door to a central bank digital currency. Although Genius Act does not explicitly create a CBDC, it creates the infrastructure and regulatory power to make one possible, or worse, to centralize control of digital currency through private proxies under federal oversight. This is what Marjorie Taylor Greene was screaming from the rooftops and saying, listen, it's not going to start out this way, but it can become this. This is dangerous. She said, wasn't wrong. So here is how it acts as a backdoor. So centralization of digital payments. Only federally approved issuers can operate, giving the government indirect control over the system. Programmable compliance. Stable coins can be programmed to meet rules, meaning the government could restrict spending to approved merchants, prevent purchases of undesirable items, expire funds after a certain date. None of this is good for us. Surveillance, integration. Every transaction is traceable, creating a real-time map of what you buy, where you buy it, who you interact with financially. So I'll use Cash App as an example. Somebody pays me or I pay them. Right now, that it works just like if I give somebody $1 to dollar. But under this act now, that's all traceable. All of it. Everything that I do is traceable. It's crazy. And there's a kill switch power. So under Section 205 of the Act tied to AML enforcement, the Treasury can freeze digital wallets, burn coins held in any account under suspicion. Suspicion can be broad. Suspend issuer licenses with limited due process. We keep talking about due process here in this country. Now it's limited under this. Yeah. So FedNow infrastructure compatibility. The Act integrates with FedNow, the Federal Reserve's 24/7 real-time payment system, which acts as the plumbing for instant digital currency movement, setting the stage for full-fledged CBDC rollout without needing new laws. So whenever they get ready to enact it, done. Yeah, we got some dangerous people in office. Say it like it is. Say it like it is. So, how the government can shut down bank accounts even before CBDCs, the U.S. government has legal tools to freeze and seize funds, including the Patriot Act, Section 314, freeze accounts under suspicion of terrorism or criminal links. OFAC sanctions block assets of individuals, entities on sanctions lists. Civil asset forfeiture, seize funds without conviction in some cases. IRS authority freeze bank accounts for tax debt. Emergency Economic Powers Act, freeze assets during declared emergencies. Freeze assets during declared emergencies. Sad. Under the Genius Act, this expands into the digital realm, allowing instant freezing or deletion of digital dollars, automatic reporting of transactions, prevention of peer-to-peer payments unless pre-approved. This is where we're at. This is what's in the act. So why critics are concerned. Financial privacy is dying, right? Every transaction is monitored. Political targeting is possible. Government could punish dissent through financial isolation. A cashless society risk. If cash is phased out and all digital currency is traceable and controllable, your money isn't really yours anymore. It's not. Tectonic control. A programmable financial system means compliance equals access. So how they have the social credit score over in China, and that's a real thing. And it's been there for a while. They could be here. It is here. It's done. They passed the law. They did this to us. I'm just telling you. They did it. So I just wanted to pass that along to you guys and pass along to make it like doom and gloom and sad. But I pass this along to you so that you are aware, so we know how to move in this society. So this isn't something I typically do read, but Unc says this is some Jewish BS. I don't know. Could be, could not be. And then Sean AI says to share this broadcast, y'all. Thank you so much, Sean. I appreciate that. You know, this is something that I do believe that we have the ability to maneuver around because, yeah, they want to do all this stuff, but you know what? We still do have. We do still have the ability to use gold. And I am looking into gold backs and trying to see if there's a way that they can kind of support my show so I can fund figure out a way like, can you make me an affiliate something? You know, I'll promote gold backs and so I can buy some. But gold is gold. And it is transactional. Silver is transactional. And these are the things that we need to remember. If our government is deciding that they want so much control over our lives, then we need to figure out ways that they are not going to control us because they are not God. Government is not God. Government is there to support you, not lord over you. And we unfortunately have people in our government that want to lord it over others. And the way out of that is have a plan to not live that way. Have your plan to live, as they say, off the grid. In my opinion, part of living off the grid is definitely utilizing gold and silver. So those are the conversations you need to have with your family and share that information with them. And like I said, have a plan and even share it with, I would say, businesses, right? Tell them about gold backs and something that they can use. Oh, and Seamus Shun, oh, you had a hard time finding me. She's saying the same way they support digital currency, the same way Congress should enact deportation. Right. Absolutely. Who wrote the bill? I can look that up really quick. Let me take a quick break. And when I come back, I'll pull that up to see, but it was bipartisan. I know in the Senate, some of the people who were on it were Tim Scott was on that. That was just one of the names that stood out that I remembered, but I'll definitely pull that up because I don't think, yeah, we all do this in real time. I know. Let's see. Oh, here we go. It was introduced in the Senate by Bill Haggerty in Tennessee on May 1st. Yes. But it didn't give me the list of everybody involved because I asked it 2 different questions. But yeah, I can get that information and definitely post that. And I do post it. Shamashan says, I want tangible gold. Yes, I think we all do. And yes, to get off the grid. And you know what? That's the most beautiful thing that we have about this country. And I know a lot of times we get kind of like, oh, I'm tired of people acting crazy. You know what? We do have the ability to live outside of our federal government. And that's why the Redemption Party, we are focused on small cities and towns and really having a local government that works for people. And that's why I talk about limiting federal government to empower local government so that people are protected and taken care of. So we can have a city that where people that are here illegal say, hey, can we work here? No, you cannot work here because you are not here in the country legally. And that is something that we're not going to tolerate here. If you're going to live here in this city or state, you need to be here legally. And that's where we need to start taking our country back. Because obviously the federal government, they're lost. And I'm going to say it as it is. And there are some things that I do like what President Trump is doing, but there's some things I don't like what's happening. And I don't like what's happening in our Congress. We have people here that do not care about our country. They do not care about the rule of law. They do not care. And we need to take that into account and believe people. You need to believe these people when they tell you, well, yeah, this person came over here illegally, but what? They committed a criminal act and you're still okay with protecting them? You sound worse than a Democrat. You sound worse than a socialist communist. Because that's what you sound like. You sound like somebody that's okay with death and destruction. Because that's what this will end up being. When you do not hold people to a standard. What are we then? We're nothing without the law being enacted like it's supposed to be. Period. If you break it, you're done. We need to administratively close the border for the next 10 years to fix what's been overly broken and damaged in this country. Are you crazy? And now you want to just say to these people, well, you can be here. And, if you're here for so long, there's no path to citizenship. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. There is a path to citizenship for these people. You're just going to backdoor us with it, just like the CBDC. You're going to backdoor us with that. Like all of these little loopholes that they keep giving themselves in Congress is disgusting. And there needs to be a whole referendum in 2026 and 2028. No incumbent should be allowed back in office. Everybody needs to go. When I say everybody. If they just got nominated, you got to go too. You cannot go back. Republicans and Democrats, independents, I don't care who you are. If you are in there now, in the House, the whole House needs to be flipped upside down. Nobody gets to go back. Because if they are not elected, they should be in prison. A lot of them. Because they're harboring illegals in their state and in their districts. They are. Knowingly and willingly. They're also violating the speech and debate clause, telling on themselves, thinking that it's okay to say, hey, we enjoy our illegals and we want them here. I'm just saying. We need to get back to real law and order in our country. And that's not being dystopian by any means. What I'm saying is, if you break the law, you need to be held accountable. It's real simple. If you came into our country illegally, you need to go back to your country and denied ever coming back into our country again for anything. You're done. You don't get to apply for citizenship. You don't get to come here to visit for vacation. You're done. And that should be it. That should be the standard. And it's really crazy to me that it's not. It is really crazy to me that it isn't. And Shema Shun says, deputize local Americans. Yes. It's so simple. It is simple. It is very simple. Because, see, the truth is simple. A lie is complex. And what that representative was doing, she was lying to all of us. And that's why it didn't make sense. That's why I said she's worse than a Democrat. She's a communist. Period. Plain and simple, short and sweet. A whole communist dressed up as a Republican. That's what you voted in to Congress. That's who she is. And she doesn't get to escape it. And she's a socialist too. Yeah, we just gonna throw our little buzzwords at her. You're worse than a Democrat. Worse than this party that holds an ideology. By the way, that's why they can circumvent the law. Because their feelings and their ideology override and supersede what the law says. Because she kept trying to justify actions that were lies. Stop that. Satan reincarnated. Just sad. Trying to bring God into the conversation. You need to stop that. I'm going to stop you right there, ma'am. Yeah, we got to vote these people out. We got to vote them out. Down ballot. See people for who they really are. And both parties are seeking to destroy our country. But yeah, I'll definitely make sure when I repost this that I include the names of the individuals that supported the Genius Act, right? Like I said, I know Tim Scott is one of them from the Senate that actually, introduced the act and put it together. The House, they were told that they could not put in any amendments. They could vote for or against it, but that was it. And they just kind of shoved it through. Sad. Sad facts. But again, there's hope. Like I said, at the local level, y'all, we can do this. We can survive all of this at the local level. We just need to make the decision if that's what we're going to do. And so if you know of anybody that wants to run for office, please check out the USA Redemption Party. That's at usaredemptionparty.com. We are looking for candidates to be servants of the people, not politicians. And we also need members of the party to support those candidates. So with that, we will end the stream for today. Thank you so much for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News on this Tell It All Tuesday. And I will see you guys tomorrow for Women in Wellness Wednesday. Have a great one. And remember, stay well, stay focused, and stay unfiltered. We'll see you soon.